Hey everybody, Taylor Lyles with the Greenville Home Builders Association, and this is the Think Big podcast. And thanks for coming on to the Think Big podcast.
Excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
The Home Builders Association. We started it recently. It's designed to create a space for people to find out content, find out information about what's going on in the market, trends, builder informations. I mean, just a little bit of everything. And I'm pleased to have you here.
Anything builder relevant.
Exactly.
Is here. Yeah.
Exactly. Anything.
That's right.
So, Ben, Heirloom Companies. Mm-hmm. You've been with them a little while.
Almost all my life.
So tell me a little bit about the Heirloom Companies.
So currently the Heirloom Companies is a second generation family owned business. My dad started it in the early 90s. Actually, I just realized this. Dad started it in 94. So it's 30 years ago now. I just had that
We
memory.
got to throw a party.
Yeah, we got to have a party. We'll have to talk to Lauren about that.
Yeah.
It was 30 years ago he started the company. At the time it was just custom staircases, and then it just kind of kept evolving from there. My brothers and I got involved in the company early 2000, and so we were fortunate enough to experience 2008, which was, man, that was such a learning experience. If you took it the right way, it was such a learning experience. A lot of great things, a lot of life lessons I learned in 2008. So one of the things we learned is to diversify our portfolio of talent, so to speak. So instead of just staircases, we started looking around and saying, what else can we do with the shop? What else can we do with the craftsmen? What else can we do with the tooling? And so we got into metalwork. That led to range hoods and light fixtures and driveway gates. And then it started getting into commercial work. Currently, we're working on a lot of the more predominant pieces at Unity Park. So that's kind of the overview of it, and it has evolved a lot over the years, and just learning to evolve with the needs of the industry. You know, as trends change, if you want to be relevant, you've got to change with it.
Yep. So from the evolution of the Heirloom Companies, going from the traditional staircases, kind of forced you to think outside the box. I'm sure you're incorporating metal and wood on a lot of projects. Tell me about some of your craftsmen. Who are some of the kind of key players that you've got over at the Heirloom Companies? Well,
we've got a really good mix. So one of the things we're really proud of is the company culture, and it's proven by currently, right now, I have 3 sets of 2-generation employees. So I have a father and then a son, or a father and a daughter that come to work with us. And so we're really proud of that. That tells me we're doing something right, that a parent would say, hey, I work here, and not only do I work here, it's a great place, you need to come as well. I mean, what parent is going to invite their child into a toxic work environment?
Yep.
Nobody.
Yeah.
I don't think.
Well,
but yeah.
Questionable.
Well, we won't speak for all parents, but by and large. So a lot of them are getting, it's kind of cool, they're getting training on being a skilled artisan or craftsman from their own parent at the workplace. So that's really cool. So a lot of them have been with us for a long time, but we do have another generation that's kind of coming in.
I love it.
Yeah.
So Ben, not to do a complete pivot, you touched on a word that I think is kind of crucial in this market and in this industry, is the culture. Mm-hmm. So whether it may be culture of how you pitch your product, whether it may be culture of your business, whether it may be culture of building relationships. I think that word kind of assimilates all across the board.
Right.
So when you're looking at it, one of the things with this podcast is kind of teaching some of the newer or even experienced salespeople or trade partners or et cetera, kind of different tips and tricks. Mm-hmm. Like when you look at a brand new builder, Let's talk about that. What does that look like to you? Are you going in and pitching them right away? Are you like, what do you do? How does Ben Moseley play this? Got a brand new custom builder coming into the market.
Well, so I'm big on communication as well as clarity. Tell them what you want. So if you don't communicate that up front, what are you looking for out of this potential relationship? And I'm very upfront and honest. So if a custom builder has a home that they're interested in us working in that one home, I'll tell this new potential builder, I don't go after a job. I go after a relationship. I want a relationship with that builder. So yeah, I'm fine to do that job, but if all I'm doing is subbing in for your other company that typically does it because they can't get to it, it's not something I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I want the long-lasting relationship
love it.
with that builder.
What's kind of some of your long-lasting relationships that you have now, like time-wise? What's your longest-standing client?
I bet you I've got some that are 20 to 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so now that would include your dad kind of
So
fostering some of those relationships?
So a lot of the relationships that my dad had, some of those builders have passed away.
Yep.
And those businesses are no longer. There's a couple of project managers that he had early on that have worked for other builders that we still work for. My dad was tough. Nothing was handed to me. So I'll tell you this quick story. Started in the company, sweeping the shop floor right after college, and said, okay, I think I wanted to be in front of the people. I enjoy interacting with people. I enjoy the relationships. And so I said, I think I'm ready to get out there and start selling for the company. He said, that's fantastic. You should do that. And I said, well, do you want to introduce me to some of the customers? Do you want to give me the client list? And he said, well, those are my customers. And I said, right. He said, you need to go get your own. And I was like, okay, all right, we're going to play hardball. And I can get on board with that. When would you schedule me to go do that? He said, not scheduling to go do. You're going to work the job, and you're going to pick up clients just the way that I did. And that's how he made me do it.
I love it. So you just went and knocked on doors on job sites?
I would have to. So a particular client that we have that pretty predominant in the area. I was leaving a job, had my truck, my tool trailer, I had my guys work my crew, and I pulled up in the yard and called the number on the sign, and I told them who I was, and that's how you sold, because that's how you sold as a small business.
Yep.
And we were still a small business, but he treated me like you're starting on your own.
They said, you're not going to ride on the coattails.
You're not riding on me.
Your own book
you
of
need
business.
to start, because that's a relationship.
Yep.
Hey, this is my kid. Start doing business with him. The guy's like, I don't have a relationship with you.
Yeah.
And I think subliminally my dad knew that. I can hand you the client list. It's not going to do you any good.
But it also created more of a valuable connection.
Oh my goodness, yeah.
Yeah.
I work for them. I strive for that relationship. I worked hard to please their needs. It wasn't just a relationship that dad already had. So therefore, that second generation can sometimes be a little lax, and he wasn't going to have that.
Yeah.
So
kind of the
Have I ever told you that? I never told you that, have I?
No, you have never told me that.
I don't.
After all the conversations
I know.
that
Taylor
we've
and
had.
Taylor and I have had a lot. Taylor and I have had a lot of conversations. I haven't told you these deep, dark secrets. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
maybe a couple.
Yeah. Okay. We can't talk about those.
We're not putting them out on Think Big.
Appreciate that.
So one of the key things with the HBA of Greenville, as we've said for years, the association stands on 3 pillars: education, network, and advocacy. The networking piece, we truly feel is kind of the gold mine of the organization, where advocacy is always going to be that massive pillar, the true cornerstone of the organization. That putting trade partners, let's talk about how valuable the association is from that standpoint, being able to put trade partners, skilled trade partners, in front of those builders in a networking setting.
Well, and it's not just putting them in front of the builders, but trades work together. So, yeah. I mean, yes, the trades love being in front of the builders, hands down. And so being able to have a platform that we can come to, events to go to be able to build the relationship. I mean, that's what we're talking about. I don't know how else you're going to do that in a non-work setting. That's when guards are let down. Because let's be honest, on the job site, builders keeping a schedule, clients coming in, they are not looking to get to know me on a personal level in that venue.
Yep.
So yeah, after hours, that's when the guards come down. We're able to get to know each other a little bit better establish those relationships, and that's how you have those long-lasting 20-year clients.
Yeah. Let's get real for a second. Are you dumping money into marketing but barely seeing any results? Go Digital can help. Using their marketing matrix, they zero in on your target audience and engage them where it matters the most. Go Digital acts as your full-service marketing team, saving you the hassle and cost of building an entire in-house team or trusting random gurus you found on the internet. It is also important to note that they don't just serve home service businesses. They own one. They've been in your shoes. They know what works because they've lived it. Wondering why I know so much about them? It's because I've been a client for them over a year, and I couldn't be happier with the results. So if you're ready to start winning more leads for less, hit the link in the show notes and schedule a free 20-minute consultation today. Yeah, I think the hardest part in the association is we host all of these events, right? Mm-hmm. So we've got 65 plus events throughout the year. I mean, there's something constantly going on. I think between Jenna and Karen, they see my brain start working, and I'm like, we could do this event, and they're like, no, we're not doing that.
Not doing another one.
So I think with 30 plus of those events, you see different tactics. You see people going after a trade partner, a builder, a supplier. You see these conversations, and you're sitting there going, build the relationship first. They didn't come to get pitched by 10 different people at this event.
Right.
They build that relationship, create a meaningful connection, find out about their first name and their last name, not just their company name. Find out about if they're married, if they've got kids, what they like to do, what their hobbies are. Like, figure that stuff out, because you're creating more of a connection, and it's not something that if you do something wrong, it's not them throwing you away right away.
Right.
Because you have zero relationship with them.
One of the things you've got to show a potential client in this industry is consistency. So at that event, when you are getting to know that potential client and you're figuring out their kids' names and what sport they like or what's their favorite team, that's all well and great. Be consistent in showing up to the events. And the reason is that they're judging you. Let's just be honest. This is a new relationship.
Yep.
Is this somebody that I want to invite and potentially put in front of their customer, the homeowner? If you're not consistent in how you're approachable at these events or your attendance in the events, are you going to be consistent on the job site? I mean, these trades run through the job site in a single file. If one falls, it's a domino effect.
Yep.
So can I count on you to be consistent? If you said you're going to be there on this day, or you say, yes, I'll see you at the next HBA event, and you don't show, what is that going to do to their schedule? Because that's all they have to apply that to.
Yep. They're looking at your, I don't want to use the word self-worth, but they're looking at your how you upkeep and maintain your persona, I guess is the best way to say it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Uncle Dave talks about persona
Uncle Dave.
all the time, but I think that's crucial. But I think that the association truly has that opportunity to be that vessel. You know, where the HBA is not the make or break your business, and it never will be. Now, if we lose some stuff on policy side, we might. We might break a lot of business. I'm lose my job, but
I'm not saying make or break, but I tell you what, the HBA has been a huge success factor for me to be able to have the platform to get to know the builders, to meet more builders, the Bridge Awards to be able to show off your work. So I can appreciate what you're saying, which is kind of humble. The HBA is not make or break for your business, but it definitely has launched us.
I love it. Now, who got into the association first?
My dad did early on. And then that, so I told some tough stories on my dad. Dad, he's a great guy. And he was the one that said, you need to get involved with the Home Builders Association. He said, these are good people. This is where you need to get to know everybody. And so he encouraged it from early on.
I love it.
So, yeah.
That's fantastic. We need to figure out how many years the Heirloom Companies, maybe how many renditions of the logo
Yeah.
there have been.
You know, I
from
remember...
the Home and Garden Show logo to what it's become now.
I think it was like 1999. I actually left like spring break from college and helped him work a home show.
Really?
Yeah.
What
It was a good spring break. Everybody else was going to Cancun. I was working that booth in the home show.
That 3 day.
I was working for my tuition is what I was working for.
Exactly.
So,
Listen,
yeah.
13 to 15,000 consumers. I mean, it's kind of like spring break.
Yeah, he's like, make the money back, kid.
Just a lot less trouble. I love it. So Ben, from a trade starting out, what is one big piece of advice you could give them starting out in the industry? It doesn't have to be staircase, doesn't have to be wrought iron. Just someone coming in and saying, I want to get into the construction field, whether it's a PM, whether it's a supply, whether it's a trade. What is one big thing that you would say to them?
Well, I think a lot of people are going to say, I want to be able to do my trade better than anybody else. So they're going to talk about quality, and that's very important. But that's almost like that's a no-brainer. You better be good.
Yeah, correct.
So I'm going to go back to consistency. So I've got a project manager that was actually a customer of my dad's, and he's a customer of mine today. And he told me one time, he said, you know what my favorite thing about working with Heirloom is? And I was so excited for this because I'm like, I didn't ask for this. I didn't draw this out of you. I'm like, what is it? And I'm thinking it's going to be our quality. It's going to be our creativity. And he said, because when you say you're going to be on the job, you're there. And at first, I was so disappointed with that answer.
You're wanting to feel that euphoric statement,
right?
And yeah.
And then I walked away, and I was
consistent.
I was almost sad for like our state of the world. That what impressed him is that when I said I'm gonna, our crews will be there Tuesday, we're there Tuesday. But then I was thinking, so nobody else does this. Nobody else in the industry says, I'll be there Tuesday and actually shows up. Or maybe it's so few that we stand out. But that's their job, is to run it. So if they can't count on you, they're going to go find somebody else.
Yep.
So I'm going to go, yes, quality, you better have that. I mean, that's kind of a no-brainer. Consistency in your schedule.
Yep.
If you say you're going to be there on Tuesday,
be there.
You better be there.
Or at least have a phone call.
You better have a really good reason why.
Yeah.
Yep.
Builders, trades, realtors. If you're looking for a flooring partner you can trust, look no further. I'm here to tell you about All About Flooring. All About Flooring is a family-owned business with 3 generations of owners that know the flooring business inside and out. They work in residential and commercial projects for both new builds and remodels by providing high-quality customer service and installation for carpet, area rugs, hardwoods, laminate, luxury vinyl, and more. Y'all, they even provide professional carpet, tile, and upholstery cleaning. At All About Flooring, they're more than just a flooring provider. They're your partner in delivering top-tier results that your customers will absolutely love. You can find their website linked in the show notes, or visit their 9,000 square foot showroom at 2111 North Pleasantburg Drive. Now, let's get back to the show. I think that one of the biggest things that we're seeing, kind of a huge frustrating point, is just somebody picking up the phone and calling.
It's not that
consumers, hard. We get phone calls from consumers constantly.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things is I can't get anybody to call me back. Mm-hmm. I can't get, this person said that they were going to come on this day, and then they called, and then they moved it. Well, then they didn't come the second time. But then it was a no call, no show. You just pick up the phone.
Right.
I'm guilty of it, and I try to get back to people as fast as I possibly can, but almost 1,000 members, it makes your life a little more difficult.
So, we'll go ahead.
But pick up the phone.
Yeah.
Make that phone call. That to me is kind of where I see one big place of improvement for our trades right now. Just
we're on our phones. I mean, you see the phone in our hand. We've got it with us.
Get off of TikTok.
Yeah, there you
Get off
go.
of Instagram.
That's
get
right.
off of Facebook.
Do a video. No.
Yeah.
So what you're talking about, I've talked to my guys about this, is being proactive versus reactive. So, and I preach that through the shop. We want to be a proactive trade, not a reactive trade. A proactive trade, well, let me back up. A reactive trade, let's talk about that side. That's the bad side in my mind. A reactive trade is when you didn't show up and now the customer's calling you and you're answering, reacting. Proactive, hey, it's Friday afternoon. I said I was going to be there Tuesday. The engine in the truck went out. I don't care what the answer is, but if you did that 2 days in advance, before, not the morning of, because whatever problem happened, it probably happened before the morning of.
Yeah, you just chose not to deal with it.
If you called them on a Friday to tell them Tuesday, hey, I'm not going to be there that's pretty incredible. And they may be a little frustrated, but you're telling the truth. You're consistent with it. You're being proactive and saying, I've got this issue. I'm not going to be able to be there. So I'll give you one more example of proactive versus reactive. No trade's perfect. Every trade makes a mistake.
No association's perfect either.
Yeah, there you go.
I mean, I'd like to think we are, but we're not.
Well, let me tell you about proactive versus reactive, Taylor. So I had my guys make a mistake on a job just this past week. They came back to the shop. They had pictures of the mistake they made, showed it to me, said, hey, we talked about proactive versus reactive. I just want to tell you this mistake happened. I wasn't really sure how to deal with it in the field. I didn't have the right stuff to correct it. So I need to go back tomorrow. So we made that phone call to that client that night. They hadn't even seen it yet. They hadn't even seen the issue yet.
Yep.
So we're being proactive and telling them about that before they even saw it. They, oh, well, thanks for telling us. We were going to stop by later tonight, which they always do. Then they would have, okay, so let's just pretend we didn't make that phone call. They go to the job. They see this thing that's not right. What are they doing? They're calling me, and now I'm reactive.
And if your guy hadn't have told you about
And if he hadn't have told me about it, now I'm completely I'm completely on my heels. I have no idea what you're talking about. Now I look terrible.
Yep.
Proactive versus reactive.
I love it.
So
consistency, quality,
yeah, well, quality's got to be there. That's almost a given.
and being proactive versus reactive.
Yeah, and that applies across the board schedule. That applies with the quality. That applies with your. Okay, here's another example. How much time have we got? We got more time?
We got a few more minutes.
All right.
Yeah.
So with your sales, proactive versus reactive. So you submit a quote. You've emailed it, and it goes off into wherever. Put a reminder to follow up with that in a couple of days. Don't wait to react to, hey, I'm following up.
Your guys using a full CRM?
We use right now Monday.com.
Okay.
Have you ever used that?
So no, I've heard of it, but I've never used it.
It's so my wife's an accountant. She says it is an Excel spreadsheet based program just on steroids. So I think currently we're running over 100 jobs. I can keep track on all of them. There's text feed with it. It's a really good product. Man, we should get sponsored by Monday.com.
Monday.com.
Yeah, that tell you what.
Come on over and chat with us.
That's right. So
tell us all about your product. Did I hear you correctly? Over 100 jobs?
Yeah. No, we've got a lot of jobs going. But, our jobs, a builder will have, I don't know how many houses, but we've just got a little scope within that house. So
yeah.
Our takes a little bit more fuel
to feed.
A little scope. Yep.
Grand staircases.
Well, yeah.
Custom fences.
Yeah. A little bit of everything. That's right.
But you also, so part of your business is also custom light fixtures.
It is. Yep.
So we talked about metalwork. We talked about stairs. We talked about gates. We didn't talk about lights.
We didn't talk about light fixtures.
Because when I did the tour, you got some craftsmen in there.
We do. We have guys that can do some things that I've not seen a lot of people do in the world. And we've traveled a good bit to other shops throughout the country, outside of the country to tour other facilities. We've got some very unique individuals in our shop.
I love it. So you got to keep it.
We do.
Keep it to that culture and keep growing.
Yeah.
All right. So Ben, on each podcast, we like to wrap up the podcast with one big question. How do you think big in your organization?
That's a good question. Okay, so at Heirloom, the way that I think big I tell a lot of stories, so I'm gonna tell one more story. So years ago, when the metal started becoming more popular, there was a competitor that said that he wasn't going to get into the metal railing, that he was going to wait for the wood balusters to come back into style, that he wasn't going to invest in it. Well, we decided obviously to invest in all metal. So he's no longer in business. He went out of business. So I think the way that I want to think big is making sure that I'm embracing whatever trends are coming. We're currently in a little bit more of a modern, so we do a lot of glass. Glass wasn't something that we did 20 years ago. Had I decided we're not going to touch glass, we may not be at this table right now.
Yep.
So I think I want to think big by continuing to embrace the different trends that come into our industry.
I love it. Well, perfect. Well, Ben, thank you.
Yeah,
this has
absolutely.
been incredible. I hope everybody listening and watching gets the golden nuggets that you've dropped. Consistency, quality, and proactive. And we look forward to having you join us on the next episode of Think Big Podcast.